Welcome back, guys. So I would like to start by saying thank you so much, and thank you to all of our panels, guests, our contributors, or our fathers out there that's actually giving something towards this conversation as to the whole series of fatherhood and what we're doing, what we are experiencing, what's expected of us, and what we're going through at any given moment. Um, this is our second month into the series. This is our second session. And this particular session, we're talking about the boot camp or the changes that fatherhood brought about when you did become a father, or as you experiencing fatherhood right now, or parenting. We're talking about how this changed you in a way, as far as you being this type of how can I say change in your life as far as going through all of the aspects. So we'll be talking about different aspects of fatherhood, parenting, and relationship in this series. But right now it's about 3 p.m. We're going to start letting our panels, our panel guests, contributors, fathers into our podcast and into the room, so we can start introducing ourselves and getting familiarized with our contributors towards this very engaging series. Yeah, so absolutely. As soon as I get everyone in here, we'll be able to get a better understanding here. Shaw is here. Shaw, what's going on, brother?
What's good, my man? Long time no see.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but we still here though. We still here. Praise God.
Word up.
I was just talking to Isaiah. He's actually on the line also, and we also have. I thought Will was here. I guess he jumped off. But I was telling him, because of, if you don't have like a mic and you don't have like headphones, it may be difficult because of the feedback that you may be getting when we start to speak. So if you do have your audio coming from your computer system, I see you have your headphones on there. Definitely just press mute. I'm gonna make sure I get that to everybody across the board as they come in.
All right.
Are you able to hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
But I can't see you now.
Oh,
I can
There
see
you
you.
go. I got you.
okay.
All right.
What about the
That's
feedback? Do you still hear the feedback?
negative. No feedback on that.
Okay. All right.
So we're good to go on that. So we have so far is Dr. Shama Eklund in here, and my brother Isaiah from BCC. I'm waiting for a couple others here, but I could have sworn Will was here. I think he jumped off real quick. I'm going to check and see what's going on with that. Oh, there he is. There he is. He's coming back in, and he's good to go. Will, you there?
I am. Let me know if you can hear me.
Yeah, yep, absolutely. Coming in loud and clear, crystal. Appreciate
Will,
you
what's
guys.
up?
It's good to see you. It's been a while.
Word up.
Yeah, we gotta get our butts over there, shot down again, right? we gotta get out there as soon as we can, man. It's been a while, Shaw. I thought you were supposed to get an invite to the house and everything. What's going on, man?
Hey. Oh, see, you probably didn't even know I sold my house, so I moved out. I moved from Detroit, so now we back in Maryland.
What?
You are?
Yeah.
Where?
Eastern Shore.
I mean, I'm not that far from you. I'm on the Potomac on the west side of Maryland.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
it's still like an hour, but
Yeah, that ain't nothing. I'm in DC like once a month, and that's like 2 hours away.
My guy, that's crazy because we right here too, man. Come on, like,
Yeah.
how long ago was this?
Last summer.
See, you can't leave it to Broken Rock to send over the message.
I know.
As
You're right.
As requested, but it's okay. It's all right. We gonna get there eventually. We're gonna get there eventually. This is a reason why I feel like communication is key. Communication is a key point to everything that we do. But hey, it is what it is. But listen, man, thank you so much, guys, for joining us here. All right. Freeman Family Values, of course, as you know, that's the channel that we're on right now. And we're just trying to make sure that we have a provocative conversation about what fatherhood is, not just to newcomers and new generations, but that's going to be coming in for generations to come. I know you guys have probably visited this situation several times or probably in a while, but I still want to have your contribution or your perspective on what it was for you at the time, how it is going right now, and what your expectations are for the future to come, right? So I'm going to jump into it because I really don't want to keep you guys for a very, very long time. I want to make sure that we have a nurturing conversation about what it meant for you guys when you did become fathers, and what did it mean for you as far as changing and around the dynamics of your of yourself, of your identity. Will Diaz and I had a very, very beautiful, provocative, intimate conversation last month on the first part series called The Becomings, and you guys can actually review that by YouTube. Also, it's I'll provide a YouTube link for you guys so you guys can take a look at it. But once you have some time, just go back, take a look, and see exactly what our conversations was about. And that particular conversation led into this conversation, and so on and so forth. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be a changing conversation across the board as we explore more and more and get deeper and deeper into the fatherhood role. So this particular series is called Daddy Bootcamp, and we definitely want to be able to explore various aspects of fatherhood and what it meant at that particular time when you did become a father. You'll get an opportunity to give us a little background on yourself. Some of us are new fathers, some of us are old fathers, some of us has never even crossed the threshold to become a father, but we still want to hear your perspective and what type of influences maybe your parents or your grandparents had on you. We're going to dive into some practical skills for dads, going into maybe some specific hands-on, like changing diapers. I don't know how that was for you guys, but back in the days, if it was like a checklist or a rocket science for you. But we want to talk about that. We want to talk about the common fears for that. We want to talk about the challenges facing you guys right now, and then we want to get into like maybe giving some advice for the next generation. Talk about the joys of fatherhood, so on and so forth. But let's jump in. I did send you guys over a series of questions, right?
Yes.
As far as dealing with the because everybody wants to get prepared for these particular questions. Like this in itself, it's you actually in the role already, right? And or you actually interested in the role already. This is no right and wrong answers. There's no judgment here. We definitely want to value your perspective and your opinion on exactly and how you handle certain areas, because you never know that particular perception that you have or that particular understanding or experience that you went through can have some type of influence or open up another doorway to a father to be or a father that is. So we're going to jump into like our practical skills for dads, right? As far as you becoming this role and being this father, we want to make sure and understand what basically changed in your dynamics as a fellow dad, right? The practical skills here, and you can share on it and as much as you can. I'm going to definitely direct you to one of the questions that was sent to you, but it's about the routine that was changed or created. It's about you prioritizing your time, whether it's quality time for yourself and your spouse or even quality time for the kids. It's about learning how to manage that time, learning how to manage your stress, learning how to manage your emotions. It's about developing a support network. Like this particular podcast is something I feel and hope that would be able to give direction to future fathers, and it's about practicing that ability to communicate, about listening, about giving proper advice, is responding properly. These are all practical skills. I feel like fatherhood had this type of influence on me, in which it had to been altered, it had to been created if it was not there in the first place, and it definitely left a changing impact on my life. So I guarantee you also that if you're the type of father that I am, even if it's down to just 1%, you definitely were affected in such a way. So with that particular series of applying it to the practical aspects of that, I'm going to direct you guys to the first question we have, which is question number 6, I think. Does anyone have that question that they could read off for me real quick? Somebody else just came to the room. Give me 1 second. Let me just get them in there. All right. Yeah. Well, what question was that? Number 6.
Number 6 is how do you stay connected with friends or maintain some personal time while adjusting to fatherhood?
Right. Anybody want to jump on that? And for the podcast sakes, I'm not quite sure if you guys are utilizing headphones to get your sound, but if you're not and you're relying on some type of speaker system from the computer, just go ahead and mute yourself so we don't get that feedback. But anyone want to jump in on that question?
Well, I mean, I can start with 6, and I mean, honestly, the easiest thing to do in terms of that staying connected, honestly, Xbox Live. I mean, when you got that time for the kids will go to bed, and you only had that hour maybe to yourself before it's time to go to bed, jumping online real quick and finding that game that everybody else is playing, get together and just chat, maybe talk about what you were doing with your kids, or don't bring them up at all. Like whatever helped to, I always talked about the kids, I still do. So they're always top of mind. But it was good to jump on some Overwatch, Call of Duty, whatever it is people were into at the time. That helped a lot.
So you were basically using like the video games and whatever you used to for your downtime and pastime, you basically implemented it into your support structures when it comes to reaching out to friends, families, and other fathers around the way.
Yep.
All right, that makes sense. That makes sense. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'll go. That one is really, really tough, but I feel like it's two different related, but two different things. So I'm gonna split it up, right? So staying connected is challenging just as an adult, right? Just being an adult without even adding in the fatherhood part. Now you add the fatherhood part in, it takes it up another level, but I think being deliberate, being intentional, and maintaining your adult relationships is important. That means you really gotta go a little extra mile sometimes to keep in contact with people, even if that means you messaging people who not responding. You know what I'm saying? But you want to keep those connections going, as best you can. The other part I think is a little bit separate. The personal time, man, I think we'll hit on it though. Like once they go to bed, that's my time to shine. That's when you do what you have to do. Reading, movies, video games, whatever. Once they hit the bed, it's on. But throughout the day, you grab little spots here and there. I do throughout the day for myself. Even try to incorporate my child into my personal time. Like, if I feel like going for a walk, she's gonna come with me. We're gonna go for a walk together. I still consider that my personal time because I'm still, she's with me, but I'm, thinking and meditating, doing what I got to do. So.
Yeah, I got you with that one. That makes sense. We were talking about this last podcast, Will has a terminology for it. Revenge. Will, can you get in on that?
It's not my term, but the idea that you're getting revenge on your day for spending so much of your own time on everything and everyone else. And you don't get to self-care. You don't get to do your own thing. So, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, whatever your bedtime is, like, you should be asleep, but you're still on your phone, or you're playing till 2 a.m. or whatever. Like, no, you got a job. You got to get to bed.
Right. Anyone else want to jump on that particular question, number 6? How do you stay connected with friends or maintain personal time with adjusting to the fatherhood? And when you do start, let me ask you just to give me a brief explanation, a brief description of where your journey is at the time in fatherhood.
Okay. Okay. You guys can hear me?
Absolutely.
Okay. Yep. Well, my name is Isaiah. I'm a father of 3. My oldest is 5. My middle child is 2, and I have a newborn who just turned 6 months a few days ago, and he'll be 7.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Blessing. Yes. Thank you. Just to piggyback off of what Shama said, and being intentional, I would say scheduling is a big thing. I have a lot of friends who are not dads, and they have a lot of free time. So they always hit me up impromptu, like, hey, do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? And I'm like, I'm with the kids right now, or I'm doing this or I'm doing that. Like, I don't really have the time to just be like, yeah, let's go and, pack up and go. So scheduling is important because it allows you still to have those connections with those friends. But doing so to where, you're not just abandoning your kids, but you're also not abandoning your friends. So I had written down that letting your friends know beforehand that things are changing now, like I said, you don't have the same amount of time you've had before. So having those conversations with them so that they can know, if you may not answer back after a week or whatever the time frame may be, they're not, wondering, hey, is this person still my friend? What happened? You kind of ghosted on me. It's more of that you guys are on the same page. Like, yeah, we're friends, but I'm up all day and all night, so it's hard to send a text. Even if I have the time, it might not be my priority at that moment. I'm still doing other things. So
that's one of the key issues here also. As that, especially when you're transitioning from single to fatherhood, or single to married, or whatever the case may be, you do have this it's severe, I should say, and brutal, if you want to call it that, where there's this disconnection, because now, number one, the different lifestyle now doesn't correlate anymore, right? The things that we had in similar instances and we're familiar with, I'm sorry, my road now, or my path now, has to change, and now that becomes an issue, especially when you have very, very good friends, and I'm not quite sure if you want to classify them as that, because a good friend or a true friend would understand that transition that you're going through, right? So if something happened and they reached out and oh, listen, you didn't get back to me in time, whatever the case may be, they should understand that I know what was going through, what's happening in this man's life, as far as a father, as far as a newborn, as far as whatever the case may be. And you say you have 3 of them, Isaiah, so I know exactly how it is as far as you juggling that. So it goes a long way when you do have this type of support system that kind of understands, what it takes, what that responsibility is that falls on top of you. That kind of leads me into our next question, which is question number 8. How do you handle the emotional ups and downs when it comes to this new parenthood? All right, especially when it comes to you maintaining and forming relationships. For me, at a certain point, I don't know if you guys ever heard that song from Drake, where it's like no new friends, right? At a certain point in my life, I was like, I don't need no more new friends. You know what I mean? Because I don't have the ability now to maintain the ones I do have, maintain the family life, maintain the professional and work life, and then still have the ability to navigate and form some type of new relationship moving forward. But at some point, I had to turn that button off. I'm not accepting any more new friends requests. Simple as that. It's a done deal. Whoever was here from the past and has known my journey, they will remain. Okay, and we'll take it from there. I don't need to take on any new relationships, because the last relationship that I formed became the most important relationship, right? So the last relationship was me holding my newborn in my hands. So that now became my most important relationship, and everything else now has to become secondary to that point. Not a lot of people understand that. Not a lot of people have an understanding of that role that you play, and it plays with your emotions sometimes, as far as people thinking that you hate them, and people people thinking that you ghosted them, and like, yo, dude, I didn't ghost you, man. Just understand, like, read the room. Look what's happening right now. Right? If it was you, and I know you work a 9 to 5, and when you come through that door, your kids is jumping on you. I'm not expecting to call you at 5:30, 6 o'clock, talking about, yo, let's go kick it. Come on, man. That's not even. Come on. So
You know
anybody
what?
else want to share on
Can I
that?
can I hop
do
in?
better with your work. You got to do better with your work life balance. Okay. I'm a father
Pablo,
of
what's
two.
going on, baby?
What's going on, brother? I've been working 2 jobs all my life. I'm a father of two. You have to be able to have work life balance, and you have to incorporate all those things. From those people that will start from this there from the start of your origin. While I understand that you have other things as a man that you have became an asset to you, you also have to take time out to continue to maintain the relationships in which you've already had from before you created your family and your life and your current lifestyle. Those are very, very important. Those are the things that have created you and then molded you to be the person that you are today.
I feel
So
that.
never forget the people that were there from when you were a little person to now that you being a big person. And that means taking time out just to see where that person is, just to see what they're doing. And it only takes a minute. And throughout today's communication that we all have an iPad, a smartphone, okay? Those things you don't a text message.
Mm,
It's very simple. It takes a moment, a second out of your day to see where a person that you genuinely care for, a loved one is, or how they're doing, and it'll mean the world to them.
facts,
So shutting
facts.
a person out and not speaking to them for weeks and months at a time is unacceptable in my opinion. Okay, it's that the people that you're with from the ground floor are always going to be your ride or dies, your day ones, and they understand that. I don't. There's four, 3 gentlemen, 4 gentlemen in the room total. One gentleman I'm not aware of, new to the panel, but 3 guys I consider my brothers. When I see you guys, it may be years, it may be months. So love. It's
Facts.
like we start off like we never left. Okay, we can remember from what it is from our roots. But as the time passes, as we get older, we have to do better with communication to one another. Like I said, a simple text message: "How's your day going? Is everything okay with you?" Because life is happening quick. The day from start to finish is is immersing every moment of the day. Every second of the day is passing like a flash of light, getting
Right.
older by the second. And you're gonna be that old guy sitting in the rocking chair that's gonna say, if I knew then what I knew, if I knew back then what I knew now. You don't want to be that guy. So my opinion to everyone that is viewing this and is aware of this: take that moment out of your day to make someone else's day. It's a 2-second event out of your day that's going to help somebody else. Because right now, there's a lot of, since COVID, there's a lot of emotional downside to people. You
Facts.
don't know what
Facts.
person people are, there's a lot of stress. I see the world has changed dramatically. So I don't speak to everybody every single day. I'm thinking of them, but now I'm actually learning to just incorporate that into that short, quick, how are you doing message? How's your day going?
Right.
And I respect the response. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna get your number because I do not have your number. Sha, I'm gonna do better. And Mike is, Mike, you know how we are. But
Yeah, yeah. We
I plan on I plan on doing better as just as a person. I was actually having this conversation with Merv the other day because next year, God spare my life, another month, I'll be 46 years old. Okay, and every day that passes by, when I have a good moment, I think about the people that I shared those good moments with.
yeah,
And
facts. I
the
hear you.
4 people in this room, I remember playing D&D with Mike and Will. You understand what I'm saying? I remember being at the park with Sha. I remember being on our prom in the bus with Sha, chilling, just chatting it up. Those are the good points and aspects of my life. As I hold my daughter, as I raise my son, I remember that Sha, not only before Sha was even a father, I remember I was there when Merv was like, "Yo, when I have my first kid, you will be that kid's godfather." That's a big thing. You understand
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
I get
So
that.
to sit there and it's got to be the work, and I go back to it's got to be the work-life balance. We as men have to do better with that, because we can't allow ourselves to fall by the wayside. Self-care is the best care, and
Right,
that all comes apart in if you love yourself, you can love others. Your kids are your kids, and you're gonna instill in them who you are and who you are from your generations to pass. And as I look at my nieces and my nephews, I envision them to be a chip off the old block. If I
mm,
see Shah's daughter, I would be a figure that she has a part of Shah in her, and I can speak to her. I speak to Merv's daughter all the time, and it's like speaking to Merv.
right, right.
Okay. When I visit your children, Mike, I speak to your children and I understand. I speak to your son, sounds like my brother Mike, because I know that my brother Mike is there. When I speak to
Gotcha.
Merv's son, he sounds like my brother Merv. It's not far off. Merv tells me all the time when I speak to PJ, he sounds just like you. And how I know
Yes, he does.
PJ's gonna do something bad, I know he's gonna do it before he does it. Like
Yeah,
your father would do that,
yeah. We get
So
to We
I
got
just like I
that.
said, work life balance, fellas. Work life balance.
But you see, Shaw, I know you wanted to jump in and say
My
something.
bad, Shaw.
Oh, go ahead. Okay, okay. Why? Paul actually just opened up.
Pandora's box.
Yeah, he opened up. He opened up a can of worms because I was actually going to attack Mike for what he was saying, but then Paul came in and he cleaned it up because it's a couple things. So I agree with everything that Paul was saying, and I know that I personally I can do a little better. I think I do pretty good, but I can definitely do better. And to Paul's point, it is important. And I'll give you an example. I'm gonna try to keep it brief because I know we got a bunch of folks who want to get in. So my uncle passed away during the summer, um, close to me. I had spoke to him like it was like a couple of weeks before he passed away, right? So he passed away. It was still a shock. Um,
Okay.
and one thing that stuck out to me at his funeral is that he had like two or three friends who spoke at his funeral, and they spoke with such love and joy about him. Even like it wasn't a show, but if it was a show, they stole the show,
Gotcha,
just
gotcha.
heaping this love and memories onto him. And that stuck with me since the summer because I'm like, yeah, his family, we all loved him dearly, of course, tears and everything. But his friends like really had a different appreciation for him as a person. And so to bring it full circle to Paul's point, you know, yes, we have our families. I'm a father of one, 3-year old. We have to put our children first, our immediate family first. But again, to Paul's point, we can't forget about the folks who was riding the bus with us,
Facts.
right? It I don't think if you get to a point where it's overwhelming to just send a text message, then you got to recalibrate, right? Because really, like Paul said, that's a couple seconds out of the day, and it does make the world. Like I remember last time Paul reached out to me, it really did make my week. Like it really did. Like, damn, I ain't hear from him in a while. He just hit me up out of nowhere, and I was like, man, yeah, man, that was dope. Like that
Right.
stuff means stuff. And we all young men right now, there's gonna be a day when we're gonna be like, yeah, I remember those days.
Right.
And
I get that.
we need to incorporate those relationships into our everyday family routines the best we can. And also to the flip side, and I'm gonna give some bail to my brother Mike and say, on the other side, we need to be understanding, right, of the brothers who's, a little struggling and they don't get back to you in a timely manner, right?
Right.
It's a two-way street for sure. That's it.
Yeah, definitely. Go ahead. Well,
I was so because I think my brother should be here, but he's not here today. And in light of what Paul and Shama just said, yeah, call him back. Call him back. He reaches out, and it feels like a one-way street. Yeah, he's definitely, he lives what you're talking about. The guy who wants to keep that connection alive. Not just a text are fine, but to get on the phone and just be like, what's up? What's going on? So I feel hearing this, I need to speak on his behalf.
Gotcha. And yeah, where's Carlos? We're gonna find out where Carlos at.
I ain't trying to blow him up. I ain't trying to blow him up.
Me and Merv actually have.
He said he forgot.
We actually have a rule that for our communication purposes, and what we do is if we don't hear from each other within an hour, we're banging that phone in. That's me and Merv. I speak to Merv. Our schedules on the opposite now. We were both PM guys. Merv switched to the mornings. So I speak to Merv while he's driving home while I'm going to work every other day. I speak to Junior every other day.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Like Kev and Devon, I text them, just to see. And Kev's a train operator like me. I speak to him, I text him. And he'll be like, dang, P, my bad. I just assumed you was busy. I just make that olive branch just to make sure I want to understand that, I'm proud of everybody. I want to make sure that they're doing well, that their families are doing well. We're all family men. And that is it is a very, very tough thing. It's definitely changed my life, definitely changed my time and my attitude about life in an impactful way. Some good, some negative. Because I feel like this is a harsh world that we live in, and it's very hard to raise children here. And sometimes I wish I didn't bring my children into this.
Oh,
they didn't ask to come here.
That's a lot.
It's the best. It is, because this is a horrible place. And I'm not the best leader in the world, and I don't have all the answers. And because I don't have all the answers, it's very hard to put my children's perspective on what they're dealing with in today's current society and world in due time for them. And you also, as a saying, when you have children, you can't shield them from everything. They're gonna get their hand burnt on that stove.
I get that.
That dark block.
This is related to another question.
You see, it's coming up there too. I see it already. You already see the correlation. But go ahead, Sha.
No, I'll wait till you ask the question. But I just wanted to keep that in mind.
No, that it is coming up to another part of this particular topic that we're talking about, especially when it comes to the challenges that dads faces, and the common fears that we have as dads and everything like that. But I really want to let me just touch back on, because I felt like I didn't really get to where you guys should understand exactly what I meant by your support network and how people should understand your role as a father, right? Text messages ain't nothing. You feel what I'm saying to you? Like, I'll text message you anytime, any day. It doesn't take that much. As Paul says, this is like 2 minutes. It's 2 minutes out of my day. You deserve that as a friend, right? I'm talking about individuals like, yo, listen, let's go chill for a couple hours. Let's go bang out for a couple hours. Like, yo, dude, like, my baby's at home trying to get a meal right now. Like real talk, and it's not that I don't want to do it, it's that my priorities have changed. I have a different eyesight. I used to disappear for days on a motorcycle. I'm talking about state to state and go down to Florida and come back in a setting. Like, that's who does that, right? I used to disappear for days. But it came to a point like, yo, dude, like I can't I can't move like that no more. Even today, even to this day, my 8-hour shift away out of the house, it's not beneficial to me in any case, in any way possible, because it's taking me away from my kids, it's taking me away from my family. And that's the way that's the way I'm going to always see it, because our priorities are already there. So my relationships with my support structures and my relationship with my friends, and you can say that because as when Paul said that, yo, we can not talk for each other for weeks or months, and then when we connect back, it's like, yo, nothing is there. We'll catch up, whatever the case may be. And it's the same situation. It's the same situation in my circle. Will can definitely vouch for that. Like, there's times where we are absent. Like, we don't have the ability, or we don't even know what a phone is, or we don't even set up smoke signals, whatever the case may be. But when we do reconnect, you know, there's a story to tell, and we just, you know, fall back into line. This is all fine and dandy as far as your resources and your support systems being helpful to you. But Paul definitely steered this conversation into this different area where it definitely needs to be spoken on, and it definitely needs some attention. And when he said something about he's kind of sad bringing his kids into this world, that's an area where most fathers go through, as far as not just the fair aspects of it, but the specific skills needed to become that father, where we have to provide this type of provision and protection for the child, right? We have to create this safe and nurturing environment for them in a way. Like, so I'm gonna shoot back that question to the panel right now. Does anybody else feel that way? And what are you doing as that father in that role to change the dynamics of it? As Paul says, you can't protect them from everything, right? But what are you as a father doing? Are you saying, shit, you know what, I can't protect them from everything, so I'm not even going to try? Or are you actually going out there, you know, saying, putting every outlet cover on, making sure all the corners are rounded? You know, are you out there trying to provide that type of like nurturing environment for the kid? Anybody want to take that? Nobody wants to jump on that question. Okay, I got you.
No, I got you. No, hold on. I can jump in.
Okay, all right. I'm here.
So one of the questions was, what are some unexpected challenges you face as a new dad? And I think that's related to this, right? What you're asking right now.
Yes.
And also to what Paul said. And my answer to that question is, I wasn't expecting people out and about to be so anti-child. Like, I've encountered people that are just, because my daughter is very social. Like, she's not shy. She likes to say hi to everyone.
Where she got that from?
I don't know. Her mom, actually. Her mom, probably. She says hello to everyone, and if they don't say hello to her, she's like, you know, she'll like push it, right? And I didn't realize how just mean-spirited and rude people are to children. Right? So that's like something I've been like really struggling with, because I don't want to let her out of my sight at all. I'm like real vigilant in terms of like her interactions with other children and adults, you know. So to the point, I haven't figured out the most effective way to deal with this cruel world and trying to protect my child, but I want to build her up so she could, be able to handle herself. But I'm still in that mode of trying to keep, some type of barrier, So my answer is I don't have an answer. I haven't figured that part out yet, but I'm aware. I'm aware.
Well, that's good. That's the first part, to just be aware of it, right? Like, the only thing that I can come across in my journey is that you download everything that you can possibly download to them, right? And they utilize it the best way that they possibly can. Like, I know my father and the fathers around me that I grew up around, right? Because trust and believe, Paul's father was my father. Willie's father was my father. Like, I look at these father figures in life and see exactly how they navigated and just, when it came around to me now applying the same type of structure in my life, I ain't had no problem because I already seen and experienced and lived it, based upon the fathers that I was interacting with. Go ahead, Shah.
I'm glad you said that. So I have a cousin. She's like maybe 10 years younger than me or so. And we talk a lot about, raising children. So we both grew up in, similar, Jamaican households where, it was, discipline was a must. It was hardcore. And kind of to your point, we kind of have come to a pact between us that we don't really necessarily want to do the things that were done to us with our kids, you know what I'm saying? But even though those things made us strong and they helped us navigate the world, we don't know if we really can apply it.
First of all,
how it was applied to us.
What was done to us? You can't do to these kids these days. They got telephone numbers, man.
They got rights.
They're dialing. They're calling. Now he hit me. He yelled at me. Oh,
Yep.
I see exactly where you're going with that. But again, there in every single relationship that you've seen and experienced throughout the course of your journey, right? There are things that you can take away from it, and there's some things that you just leave right there. I'm not going to discard it because it has its own effect, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but
there's some things I got to discard for sure.
So there's certain things that I see, like especially when it comes around to Mr. Robinson's authority. Like there is, I remember Paul, and you can confirm this, bro. We're in the yard. We're in Paul's yard playing, right? And Ida comes out and says something to Paul. Paul's like, let's go, baby. We keep on going. Mrs. Robinson come out and say something to Paul. Yeah. We got 2 more minutes. But as soon as Mr. Robinson comes out and says something, bro, party's over. Not just for Paul, but for everybody. Everybody packs it up and go home. Right. And that level of authority that I saw, like how we came out there, like that persona, that energy that I wanted that. I wanted that level of energy when it comes around to the authority of giving an instruction, especially to a child. If I walk up into a room and you're having conversation of Diddy and this and that and whatever the case may be, and I walk up into the room, your conversation should stop because Mr. Freeman don't go down like that. So we got to change the whole dynamics of the room right now because hold on. And this type, it kind of carries itself. It kind of pushes you into this different type of guidance and correction. You know what I mean? And that's question number 3 for me because it's leading to some type of a cheat code that I found. Like a dad hack that I found. I didn't have to go out there and write it. I didn't have to go out there and develop it. I lived it. All the fathers that came before me, Mr. Andrews, Mr. Diaz, all the fathers that came around me and had something to put into me. You know what I mean? So I utilize their experiences, their authorities, their mannerisms, their energy that they bestowed upon the community itself. And I utilize that to say what I'm going to take from that in order for me to put into my little checklist of wants and cons and pros and whatever the case may be, and I move forward with it. So yeah, it is a challenging situation when it comes around to fatherhood and raising the children that God has now bestowed upon you. But he didn't just give it to you without a manual, right? Because over here right now, you're like 30, 40 years into your life. You already know. He's already given you the answers before he gave you the problem. So that's one of the things that I found out with the hacks, with me discovering what life has to offer. I felt like those answers in becoming this new father and changing the dynamics of myself, I already had it. I don't know if Paul remembers, there was this dude. Remember Eric and Sean, Paul?
I still speak to Eric.
You still speak to Eric? All right. Remember Eric?
He lives out in Ohio.
Oh, word. Okay. Remember he had his mom. She had a boyfriend. I forgot his name. I think his name was Messiah or something like that.
Messiah. Yes. I remember.
Right. You remember the physical attribute of this dude? Like
Diesel, man.
Oh my goodness gracious. But at that time, this was that role that he was playing, right? Maybe he was just the boyfriend or the significant other of the mom, but his physical attributes was something I was looking at. Because I remember there was a time when Mike used to jump over cars, right? So I would jump over a car, and this dude totally outshined me, right? I don't know how old he was at the time, but I know he was older because he was acting.
Yeah, definitely.
This dude jumped over the fence like with no problem. Like he didn't put his hands on the fence, and he just went right over the fence. I'm like, all right, I'm packing it in. But that type of physical attribute was me looking at him and seeing that he still took care of himself, regardless of his age, regardless of his role as a father or his position as a father figure. He still took care of himself to be able to have that physical attribute behind him. And I feel when it came around to my own kids, I dropped the ball on that. Like, I didn't care about push-ups and pull-ups, sit-ups. You know what I'm saying? I didn't care about how much you benching right now, Mr. Freeman. I cared about, is he getting enough sleep? Is he eating? You know what I'm saying? Is his school work done? You know what I'm saying? Do they have clothes to put on their backs and shoes to put on their feet? Are they following the word of God the way they're supposed to be? So it changed everything. The last thing that was on that bucket list was my health and my physical attributes and the way I took care of myself. So I don't know. I mean, me and Will actually touched on that last session in the last podcast. But anybody else have anything to say on that?
Only that I'm in the same boat. I was in the best shape of my life in the year leading up to my daughter's birth. And I have a 13-year-old and a 9-year-old. And letting that, and it was hard work to get to that point. The word I was going to choose is throwaway. It wasn't a throwaway. It was a decision that they were more important. And I didn't need to spend an hour in the gym every day because they needed me more. That's my job. They didn't ask to be here. Right. It's like, all right, well, it's my job to make sure I take care of them to the best of my ability. And now we fast forward those 13 years. Like, okay, now I'm looking back like, well, maybe I could have balanced it a little bit more in that time. But then I think I made the right call.
Gotcha. Anyone else want to share on that?
So I was in a similar situation. So I trained, and then I ran a half marathon leading up to my daughter being born. Cause I'm like, yeah, I want to be ready. I want to be good. I want to be living for her, right? but I fell off. I fell off. It wasn't intentional, but I fell off. I'm back in the gym now though.
After she was born.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I couldn't keep the
I've
momentum.
I've always been a barrel shaped gentleman, but during
Shut
my
up.
youth, I did eat better. Now I've gotten back to the more healthier conscience of my life. Because I have a little one, I want to make sure that I'm there for their life, and making sure that I'm there as health is wealth.
Hmm.
Making sure watching what I put in my mouth, monitoring everything that happens around me, what I take in from the day. Those things are of the utmost importance, because I'm thinking of not just myself but of somebody else.
That
When
makes
it came to
sense.
my son, I want to, same thing. You want to make sure you're there, but I had one a lot younger in my life, so the infrastructure was different. My thought process is different. You feel invincible the younger you are. You're like you're always going to be there. It is what it is. Because they're you have a kid when you're young, they're growing with you.
All
You
right.
know, my son's 20 now, will be 21 in June, and sitting down and having a conversation with them. Although he's my kid, I still feel like it's like talking to a grown man,
Right.
which he is. So um, just making sure that you self care. Like just last week I went and got myself a pedicure. You know what I'm saying? Just make sure you get your hair cut. Those little things help your own whatever it is you like to do that's pampering yourself. Do it. You only
Okay.
have one
Mental
life
health.
to live. Mental health is wealth. In itself. Read a book. You know what I'm saying? Take a long walk. Eat that whatever food it is you like. Get that one day that that piece of cake from the cheesecake factory, whatever it is. That you something you do for yourself, because those days are few and far between.
That's
As
true.
a child you wake up, and summers seem to be the longest and ever. Like summer seemed like it never ended. There was a point when I was a kid, was like, damn, I want to go back to school. You know, it was like, like I want to see the other kids. I want to block with my boys. But I'm like, I want to go see some other faces. And now that I'm working, it's like July is here and it's gone. August
Facts.
is here and it's gone. I'm in September, and my brain waves focuses on, oh, there's less traffic. Those kids must be out of school. You know what I'm saying? So it's a different mindset. It takes a different totality on the body, the mind, and your spirit. All things align back to God. um you know Having a spiritual presence in your life changes your life. Having
Absolutely.
accepting the Father, knowing who your Father is, knowing yourself, knowledge of self. those are
Transformation.
big those are the big huge things in life that's going to pass your generational wealth to your generation that you've created.
Right. Right.
Because these new generation, they're in shambles. World is at crisis. But between the drugs and the alcohol, those things were there in our youth, but it's gotten 10 times worse now. And
Mm.
most of us are '80s babies. We've been through the crack epidemic. We understood what it was. You went down the street, you saw that crack vial, you knew what time it was. That was all over the street. We survived that, but the kids that we have now, because they're so shell shocked, those little things just blow their mind. So like I said, it's a different world, different atmosphere, and self care is going to help you through a lot of that. Pampering yourself and just keeping your mind right. That also keeps you mentally stable to deal with your friends, your family,
Mm.
and your children.
All right. True.
Because
True. True.
most of us were the head of household, and being the head of household, you collapse, everything else around you is going to collapse. You catch a common cold today, your entire family is affected.
So
Okay. You
that brings up another area that we're definitely going to discuss here, because how do you manage that stress and emotion when it comes around to understanding that that's where you are as in this position as the father, as the head of household, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then you have to deal with not just the family dynamics, right? Or you can also say the expectations too for them, right? Not just that, but like the social or society's expectation. of what a father is supposed to be and what a father is supposed to do. I feel like these like challenges that we have on our backs, it's layer upon layer upon layer. Like, how do you deal with these and how do you navigate all of this stuff, man? As far as like, what do you find in your day to day or your time that helps you manage these stress and emotions and dealing with these societal expectations and stuff like that?
For me, I kind of, in my mind, when I do have those breaks in between the day, I reminisce a lot. For me, the just thinking of the good times, because sometimes you got to be out of this world, literally,
Mm,
to be in this. You got to be out of this world to be in this world, and the crazy times that we're living through, you have to take that space away from people, away from your family, and you have to give it to yourself. And when I say that, it can't just be when you're driving home from work or driving to work. It can't just be when you're taking a crap. Some people
right,
find
right,
solace in the bathroom. You
right.
got to take that time and give it to yourself, whether it's being with a friend or just taking that time to be by yourself to deal with the, stress and alleviate the stress of the world that is today. Because, the kid that sleeps in the next room from you or the woman that sleeps in the bed with you, sometimes those could be your greatest stresses, and not in a bad way.
I'm gonna let you hold on to that part. Not,
But
I think some of them are gonna be tuning in on this later on. So I'm gonna let you hold on to that.
listen, man, I tell people just as it is, okay? In life, you have to understand where you've come from to know where you're going.
Right.
And everything if it begins, it ends. If you don't see where you've come from and the mistakes you've made and live through them, you cannot find yourself to fathom a tomorrow.
True.
If you don't plan, you plan to fail. And with that being said, taking life stress as it comes from the job, from people, from your family, from your friends, you know, think about it. Everyone has had a friend that calls you and they got a problem. Their problem now becomes your problem.
In a
And
way,
that
yeah.
problem, the same way when your kids come home from school and they got a problem, that kid's problem is immediately my problem. My son comes home and he's upset. I'm upset. Let's get him. Who we
Right,
getting?
right,
You
right,
know, this is where life takes you the most out of your own comfort zone. Caring for somebody else. God put somebody that has no concept of what's going on in your hands. And now is the time as a father to understand what to do with your hands.
right, right,
You
right,
understand what I'm
right,
saying?
right,
That's the difference there. You got to make sure that you make sure your hands are taken care of. You got to keep your hands well manicured because
right.
my hands got cuts and scars on it from life. These kids come in here with nothing on them. You understand what I'm saying? So you gotta make sure that whatever you're doing, you constantly thinking, and you got to stay above the rope. You got to stay above the grade because everyone's dependent on you. All
So
the spotlight is on you.
how do you fathom? How do you fathom, right, that you got cuts and scrapes and damage, and you got experience on your hands, right? And this type of experience, this type of journey has made you the person that you are. But now you want to safeguard your kid from becoming the person that you are. You don't want to give them the same scars and give them the same experiences that you went through. Are you saying something to me about the way you look at yourself as a father, um, in living in this lifestyle, living in this time frame? Because the least that I want, the least that I want is that they can at least get to the same standards that I have at this given moment, right? If anything above, that's what I'm aiming for, but they should not be lesser than me. But in order for them to get to the same standards as me, they got to go through the same crap I went through. You know what I'm saying?
See that
The
that's
same
that's
the
the that's
same
the fickle
journey.
line.
That's what.
That's the fickle line. As I look at the gentlemen in this room, I see impressive backgrounds. Okay, I see bookshelves there. This man at the bottom corner of my screen is a reader. That means they're intellectual. They didn't put those books there for show, right? I know Will is a reader because I grew up with. I know Shaw's a reader. I know Mike is a reader. Okay, knowledge is in those books, right?
Mm-hmm.
In life, you can't. We've already done better than our parents, per se. We had happiness together. Financial wise, we've done better than our parents from where we come from to where we are today.
Okay.
Okay, we amass more than our parents have made in their lifetime. We have given our children more than our parents have given us. That's the first goal of everyone. I want my children to have what I didn't have, right? That's everyone's first goal. And
Well,
aside
not
from that,
not not mine, but okay.
it is.
No,
It is.
not really.
Mike, you know, I can tell you this. You live in Pennsylvania, in a quiet neighborhood.
Hold on.
I don't see no
What?
crackheads when I come
What I
visit
got to
you.
do with that?
I don't see the train running in the background. It's a different lifestyle out there. I see deers outside chilling. I ain't never seen no deer in the hood, baby. All right.
Oh man,
So,
you right.
like I said, you move to your element. You move to where you see peace and tranquility. I gotta announce myself when I'm coming to visit you. It's not like I'm gonna just drive by your block and be like, yo, Mike, what up? That's a hot dog over. Let me get that. I
No,
can't
you
do that. I
good.
gotta be like, yo,
You
Mike,
good though.
if I'm driving to Pennsylvania, that's out of my way. I gotta call Mike, make sure Mike home. You know what I'm saying? I look at it like this. You want for your children better than you've had emotionally, physically, and all aspects of life. There's also a thin line of them that you want them to experience what you experience in a certain gravitation. Like
Mm,
I always tell PJ, you know, if I didn't have a Merv in my life would be totally different. You know, it's, and I say Merv, not that none of you guys are any different. I equate Sha and Will, my big brother Mike, but Merv and me, where we live through the kind of the same similar experiences. We're going through life in that same path. We talk about everything under the sun with each other, each other's mental stresses, emotional stresses, and personal stresses. It's like a
right.
constant thing that we speak about. Um, these things for me help me. Like it's like I've been on down points in my life where I feel like shit got to end, right? But it's like, you know, some people are like, I gotta go in for my kids, and then I realized no, I gotta go in for myself. And the reason why I have to go in, it's not a selfish thing. It's just that if there's no me, there's no them. You know, and that's what you got to come back to surface to realize. For every generation every child that's in your room, that's in a room in your house right now that you created, they would not be there if there wasn't for you. So you have to make sure that you give back the greater good to God, number one, and back to yourself, number two. You got to make sure that you understand that you are a beacon of light, and you are a lot of people's beacon of light. You are the pillar of your community. You are the pillar of your household. Everyone there needs you to some point, some aspect, or you wouldn't be there.
I get that, but that still doesn't answer the question. Like, do you want them to be better off than you by giving and providing them everything, right? When that's not going to be the end results, right? I got here to where I am, mind, body, and spirit, based upon the products of my journey, based upon all the things that I've traversed. This is my fatherhood's journey, right? It's not going to be theirs. I know that for sure. They're
Everybody's story is written. You
every
know, you
single one of my
can't.
kid had got a different version of me. Mason got a version different from Melanie got a version, right? When Mason got into this world, Mason didn't see daddy, right? Because I was out there working 3 jobs at a time just to make sure that we can put some food on the table, right? When Melanie came into the world, which is 7 years later, when Melanie came into the world from the time Mason got into the world, 5 years later, I'm sorry, 5 years later. The difference between that is that daddy has his own business. Daddy's now in the house now. So it's not a matter of daddy going and punch a clock for 8 hours. Daddy can make his time at any given time. So I basically was at home with Melanie at all given time, all given time. So my thing to you is that I know we want better for our kids, right? But I don't feel, or to my understanding at this given moment, that doesn't mean giving them everything better or giving them and putting them in a situation where things are going to be just peaches and cream, put every meal on the table for them, eliminate hardships for them. I really don't believe that builds a productive individual for society moving forward, right? Because now they're like a little privileged. Like they're gonna turn around and ask me like, where's my next meal, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, Shaw, come on, man. You the professor here. You supposed to be able to dive into this conversation and help me out here.
I know exactly what you mean. So here's my thing. My little girl is not going to deal with 90% of the things that I went through in my journey. She is just not. If I have anything to say about it, she is
by
not
design.
going to.
By design.
By design. She is not going to get these scars. However, I believe there's a way to give her certain experiences that will build her up. We got it out the mud. We experienced things that I don't think that it made me the person I am. But if I could go back in time, there's many things I would change. So for my girl, she's not gonna have to go do her homework at the library because the lights is off. Even though that gave me a certain level of perseverance and resilience, she's not gonna have to go through that. We're gonna have to figure out a different way to instill that in her.
Yeah, she can do it. She can do her homework on the candlelight like we did. You know what I'm saying?
But it's not going to be out of necessity, right? So we got to figure out ways to get them those lessons. Like she's not going to be in the street, facing down, a mob of other kids trying not to get jumped. But she's going to be in karate.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So she's going to learn her lessons differently.
These are the challenges that I feel the fathers of today, like, we go through. And without this type of like structure or support, you're not going to get through it. You're going to be in that dark corner crying your tears so nobody else can see it. But the stress, the kids, the social expectations, the family dynamics, we can spend hours upon hours going through just these topics alone. But we got to wrap this up. So I want to talk about, in the final moments of this podcast here, what are the joys? What's the happy moments of fatherhood? What brings you happiness to see? Not the fear part, because we definitely dived into the fear part. But what's your expectations, man? What's your sense of purpose and your sense of responsibility, right? What's your milestones that you're looking forward to? You know what I'm saying? Your achievements that you're looking forward to when it pertains to your kids. Somebody share on that.
I don't know, you just asked like 5 different questions.
Right.
I know. But I'm going through it. I'm going through it. But help me out here.
If I'm gonna go for joy as the first one that you said, the joy of fatherhood is when these kids take me by surprise. When they say a thing that I'm like, how do you know that? Oh, when but they say something that makes me laugh so much, like, dude, I didn't know you were that funny.
Right.
Something like that. Oh, and yeah, that's it. When they take me by surprise, and they show me they're a different person,
Mm-hmm.
and they're their own person. Is probably a better way to say that.
So your joy is basically watching them grow up into these personalities. Yeah, I get that. I get that a lot. I get until you going face to face with your son, trying to tell him to stop playing around because he's
Nah,
embarrassing
hold
you.
on. We talking about joy.
Because
We talking about joy.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Stick
You're
with
right.
it.
You're right.
Stick
No,
with
but
the
you
joy.
know what? In a way, it is a joy, right? Because back in 8th grade, I used to run like an 11.5, 100 meters, right? You know, I thought I was the man. You know what I'm saying? Here comes along my son, and he's doing it in less time. You know, 11 flat. You know, they're bordering on 10, and I'm looking at him like, you know, you think you cocky now? You think you're better than your father? You know, stuff like that. But but inside of me, I couldn't be more proud, man, that this dude is actually on that physical attribute. He's actually trying to attain the same type of things that I was looking at, you know. But all I wanted to do was become better, you know. Yes, you can do this, but can you do it better? And I see that he already has that mindset. Same thing with his basketball. He's bound to become better at it. You know, if he did 100 free throws yesterday, he wants to do 101 tomorrow. So that's the way he is. But yeah, that watching them grow up and learn certain things and getting into their own personalities and their own behaviors and stuff like that, outside of, you know, it being dangerous or malicious or just, you know, bad in itself. Yeah, I feel like that's, well, you hit that right on the head right there. Anybody else have anything to share with that?
No, I think
Same
he hit
thing,
that on
man.
the nail.
Same thing.
Yeah, I agree. My kids are still young, so for me, it's really just the milestones, and watching them develop their personality, like you said.
Right.
My 2-year-old kind of brought out the personality in my 5-year-old, because she is something. My first girl and my oldest is a boy, so she's so outgoing. But he's so reserved, so it's like, but she's like, she gets him to be outgoing, so it's just watching that dynamic it's crazy. It's
Right.
honestly crazy. Yesterday we're sitting here, we're eating our plates, and she's over here feeding him food, like sneaking feeding him food. And I'm like, what do you you know? So it's just crazy. In the morning I sneezed and everyone's asleep, all I heard was bless you, and it's her. I'm like, what, you know, and I never heard her say that before. You know, she's 2 years old. I'm like, what are you doing saying bless you? You know, I woke my wife up right at. I'm like, babe, did you hear what she just said to me? You know, like, this is crazy. So just that type of stuff is like the joyous part of and it's all joy, but like that's like, you know, the stuff I look back on and I'm like this is crazy, and it's some of the stuff I'm gonna miss too as they get older. You know, it's like, you know, you start to get like, you know, achievements, like you said, the basketball and track and stuff, and then it's like you look back and you're like, you still remember when they're running around in their diapers and that sort of thing.
Right.
So it's just a good thing all together. Like being a father is just good. Like even with all the bad in the world, it's just a good thing to be able to come home and see your kids. And you know, they come and welcome you out the door. Hi, daddy. Hello, daddy. And you get to hug them, even every one of them, and play with them. Even after work, if you're tired, you know, you had a long day. I'm a mechanic, so I work on cars all day and stuff like that. So, you know, you get home and you still find the energy somewhere, and you know,
Gotta
you're
bring it
playing
out.
with them. So, yeah, exactly. So yeah.
Okay.
If
And
I can give some quick unsolicited advice here, right? Like, be in the moment with your kids. Always be there. But we're blessed with this technology that will allow you to capture these moments forever. And when if you have one of those little like Google or Echo things that show pictures back at you, and you just like, I remember that day, and you realize that was 5 years ago. Like, where'd that time go? It was 10 years ago. And it's crazy to go back and see this. Like, they were a completely different person. That kid in that picture isn't the person who's with me right now, right? And a friend of mine gave me I asked a question, like, who's the best version of your kid, basically? When was your child at their favorite? It was some question like that. And he was like, the kid I have right now is my favorite version of my child. Oh, it's because they're constantly growing. They're constantly becoming a new person. And it's fun to watch that. But there's something really, I don't know, maybe bittersweet to look back and see the kid who was and now the one you have. And I don't know. I have those one of each of those things I just said, and it's just nice every once in a while to be surprised and see that again. So yeah, pictures and videos is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, all right. So as far as like experiencing like this growth and this, as you said, different versions of who they are as they're growing up, I think that would be something that will bring me joy. In the same sense, Will and I touched on this also again. We want to be able to build these bonds, right, and build these relationships and memories with our children. Are you guys doing anything of that nature to facilitate your relationship in such a way?
What do you mean?
So yeah, normally you would have like an annual barbecue, or you're doing annual vacation, or you have these customs at Christmas time or holiday time. Are there any things that you guys have like locked in that it must be done, or is something that's definitely on the table so we can just create these memories and these bonds right now?
Oh, that's a good one. Like my daughter's still very young. She's 3. So
Yeah, that's when it starts.
yeah.
Yeah, for real. We
So I
like
don't know, man. That's a good one.
for us,
My son will
it's
be
not really
21
like
in a couple of months. I plan to take him to the strip club, and we're gonna do that every year.
Oh,
Oh my
brother.
God.
Just kidding.
for us,
Le-
it's not really like a routine, but they really like the trampoline park. So we drive like an hour and some change, and it works for us too. Because by the time they get home, they're just knocked, for the rest of the night. So it's good. But they really have a great time there. So we try to go there as often as we can, like kind of like a year-round thing. But
okay.
yeah.
I'm gonna warn you about those trampoline parks, but I'm gonna leave that alone because it seems like that's your thing. But yeah, be mindful of those trampoline parks. They kind of like get in the way of your growth of your kids. A couple of injuries there, and not just with my own kids, but with kids in the school and yeah, my nieces also. Yeah, they had a little couple of injuries there, and it's not like they jumped into something or they fell or something like that. It's just a constant pressure being put on their growing joints, right? For a particular period of time. Then when they come off, it's no problem. It'll probably take a couple of days for you to they actually to feel it. But they have to be able to recognize it. And because the children now are young, most of them are young, they're not able to articulate what they're feeling at certain times. So that type of injury goes unreported, and it turns into an issue later on. A couple of kids in the school and basketball camps and stuff like that has some issues with that. But yeah, yeah, man, this is awesome as far as you guys coming together and being able to share your moments here. I'm going to see if we can close this up with question number 5. And I'm gonna post that there inside the link so you guys can see on the chat here. It says, what advice would you give to someone who's just about to become a dad for the very first time?
Well, my answer was.
So I'm gonna keep quiet.
Yeah, my answer was the same as Will's. What he said earlier, which was staying present. Time moves by quick. Like my son's 5, and I can literally remember, when he was born. So and it doesn't seem like it was that long in between, but it has been 5 years. So I still can't even process that. So staying present in as much as you can, is important, not only for them but for you as well. Reminding yourself that they're more than just a checklist. Like when in the newborn stage, it's not just Did you feed them? Like, are they changed? Like, there's that,
right,
but there's
right.
there's the bonding time too. There's like, like that's your child, so you have to make sure that you recognize that. Keeping them at the forefront of your priorities and praying always.
Right.
Praying always for your children.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. Anyone else on that?
Patience, patience, and more patience.
Mhm.
The road to a successful child is patience. And I tell it to every new father, anyone that's getting into the kid game. Um, Growth takes time, especially good growth. And, although it does happen fast, just when uh, coming about with any issues you have with your child, from them getting their first cold to them falling for the first time, their first scar, that's all patience. And understanding that will help you in every situation that you're gonna deal with a little one. You know,
Excellent.
um, just trying to figure them out is a thing again of patience. Trying to understand, because the kid can't talk to you, so what cry means what what whimper means that. It's all patience, because it's a frustrating thing. You know, um, Kid comes home, they're sick. You don't know, what's wrong with them. They're crying hysterically. They don't have a fever. You got to figure that out. And as a parent, you got to figure that out.
Right,
So
right,
if you don't
right.
have the patience to do such, that's going to be a thing that you're going to, gets very, very frustrating. We've all been through that as dads, and that's the key point. And as I hit on before, just being present. That's what keeps you being present, is patience. Because
Right.
people are like, when I don't have patience or something, I'm out of there. So, and this is why we live in the society we live in, because a lot of people don't have patience and they get the hell out of there. You
Right.
know?
Right.
I would say don't forget about or neglect your partner.
Mm.
It's, they're gonna be there. Well, hopefully they're gonna ride with you. Try not to take out those frustrations and those stresses on them. Try to keep the partnership strong. And just don't forget about them. They there for you, and they going through the same thing you going through. And when y'all are in sync and y'all working together, it's gonna go a lot easier. Won't be easy. Easier.
Easier. Gotcha. Gotcha. So that is something that happens across the board as you navigate or you transcend into this fatherhood role. Also, the person that made you a father, you tend to like have this bonding relationship also, and you want to make sure you maintain that. In some aspects, you don't want to lose that connection with your partner or with your kid, I should say. So yeah, that balance of that relationship is also very, very important. Um, so, Will, you have anything to say on that as far as any advice?
I'm either going to repeat myself from last time and we close out with a very
Sleep.
similar question. Yeah, I go sleep and the self care. Like you're important in the whole thing. Don't exert yourself, especially the first time. Um, you just gotta take care of yourself.
All right, I got you. I got you. Listen, guys, I really appreciate this. I really appreciate you guys coming together and giving us some good materials
This was
for
very
this.
therapeutic.
It is. It definitely is, and I hope and pray that this is something that can be sent over towards the next generation to come. I want your daughter to look at this 20 years from now and be like, oh, so that's what he thought. You know what I'm saying? I want Paul's son to be like, so this is what daddy's expecting from me. You know what I mean? So yeah, these are areas where I feel not only for the therapeutic portion of it right now in this moment, but it's going to be a message towards the next generation, our offsprings, and making sure that they are level-headed and they actually have some type of idea of what the expectations are from their parents. If I had this type of material or this type of memoir for guidance and correction from my parents, I think I would definitely be in a better situation as to how they're expecting me to raise my kids, because in the current given moment, it feels like my parents threw that role and responsibility out the window, right? And they took on this new role for grandparents, right? So they no longer have to do the guidance and the correction any longer because they feel like, I guess, you guys got that. So whatever you guys are doing, we now as grandparents can go against it. So that's the roles that we're having right now. But I feel this is good, what we're doing right now, and I hope that it continues. Listen, guys, this is just the second part of a 12-part series. I'm going to send out some more information for you guys for the next one, which is coming up in about another month or so. Again, I'm not trying to force these on you every week or so, but I'm also giving us time for us to reflect and for us to be able to put this out there and get some proper feedbacks from the audience. But I thank you very much for your time today on sharing on the Daddy Bootcamp, on what we're doing and what is expected of us as fathers. And I hope to see you guys again next month when we do step into our third series and talk and dive more into fatherhood. Until then, I will talk to you guys later. Look towards your emails and text messages. We will see you guys. Peace.
Good seeing y'all. Peace.
Peace, brothers.
Have a good one.
Joy comes with the morning sun. Just look what God has done. Hey, you're gonna be okay. Don't let a little gray sky rain on your parade. Hey, you're gonna be alright. Don't spend all of your daylight waiting for the night. Just go live your life. Just go live your life. Just go live your